Jack Wilson had always seen himself as a man of principle. In his mid-40s, he had sandy blonde hair that was thinning at the crown, pale blue eyes that seemed perpetually wary, and a clean-shaven face etched with faint lines of stress and weariness. Jack stood tall and broad-shouldered, but his posture often betrayed a man carrying the weight of inner turmoil. Jack owned a modest auto repair shop in a small town where he had lived all his life. His community was tightly knit, and like many others in the area, Jack had grown up with certain biases he rarely questioned. That is, until a life-changing encounter challenged everything he thought he knew. One fateful day, Jack's life took a sharp turn. Accused of embezzling funds from a local charity where he occasionally volunteered, Jack found himself at the center of a criminal investigation. Though he maintained his innocence, the evidence seemed damning. Altered financial records and missing funds traced back to his login credentials. Jack insisted someone had framed him, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. With limited funds, Jack initially sought to hire a lawyer. However, the legal fees quoted by various attorneys were astronomical. Jack reluctantly accepted that he'd have to rely on a court-appointed lawyer. When he met his assigned attorney, his stomach sank. Jack's attorney was Maya Caldwell, a strikingly confident black woman in her early 40s. Maya had rich, deep brown skin, sharp cheekbones, and piercing dark eyes that seemed to see right through a person. Her tightly coiled natural hair was neatly styled into a low bun, and she wore tailored suits that exuded professionalism. Maya had an impressive reputation. She was known as the best criminal defense attorney in the state, with over 15 years of experience and a winning record in high-profile cases. Despite her accolades, Jack's initial reaction was dismay. He hadn't expected his lawyer to be a black woman, and his ingrained prejudices made him skeptical of her abilities. He voiced his concerns to his friends, who scolded him. "Are you out of your mind?" his friend Tom exclaimed. "She's your best shot. She's beaten prosecutors in cases way tougher than yours. Don't let your biases get in the way of saving yourself." Reluctantly, Jack agreed to work with Maya, though he remained skeptical. Jack's attorney was Maya Caldwell, a strikingly confident black woman in her early 40s. Maya had rich, deep brown skin, sharp cheekbones, and piercing dark eyes that seemed to see right through a person. Her tightly coiled natural hair was neatly styled into a low bun, and she wore tailored suits that exuded professionalism. Maya had an impressive reputation. She was known as the best criminal defense attorney in the state, with over 15 years of experience and a winning record in high-profile cases. Despite her accolades, Jack's initial reaction was dismay. He hadn't expected his lawyer to be a black woman, and his ingrained prejudices made him skeptical of her abilities. He voiced his concerns to his friends, who scolded him. "Are you out of your mind?" his friend Tom exclaimed. "She's your best shot. She's beaten prosecutors in cases way tougher than yours. Don't let your biases get in the way of saving yourself." Reluctantly, Jack agreed to work with Maya, though he remained skeptical. Maya approached the case with a determination that was impossible to ignore. She pored over every piece of evidence, taking meticulous notes and formulating strategies for countering the prosecution's arguments. She held long, focused meetings with Jack, asking probing questions to ensure no detail was overlooked. Though Jack initially resisted her thoroughness, he soon found himself admiring her sharp mind and unwavering commitment. "Mr. Wilson," Maya said one evening as they reviewed documents, "building a solid defense means preparing for every scenario. If you trust me, I'll make sure your side of the story is heard." Jack hesitated, then nodded. Her confidence was beginning to wear down his resistance. Maya even rehearsed his testimony with him, coaching him on how to stay calm under cross-examination. Gradually, Jack realized that Maya was fighting not just to prove his innocence but to uphold the principle that justice should be blind to race or prejudice. When the trial began, Maya's reputation quickly proved well-earned. The prosecutor was aggressive, painting Jack as a man who had betrayed his community for personal gain. The jury, a diverse mix of men and women, seemed attentive but skeptical. Maya's opening statement was a masterclass in persuasion. She humanized Jack, portraying him as a hardworking man who had been wrongfully accused. She highlighted inconsistencies in the prosecution's evidence and pointed out alternative explanations for the missing funds. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," she concluded, "justice is not about assumptions. It's about facts. And the facts in this case will show that my client is innocent." Over the course of several court dates, Maya dismantled the prosecution's case piece by piece. She called expert witnesses to testify about cybersecurity vulnerabilities, suggesting that Jack's login credentials could have been hacked. She also uncovered emails between two members of the charity board, hinting at a conspiracy to shift blame onto Jack to cover their own misdeeds. The judge, a stern but fair woman named Judge Harriet Lee, seemed impressed by Maya's thoroughness. "Ms. Caldwell," she remarked during one session, "you've presented a compelling argument. Proceed." By the time closing arguments arrived, even Jack couldn't deny Maya's brilliance. He watched her with a mixture of awe and guilt, realizing how wrong he had been to doubt her. After deliberating for several hours, the jury returned with their verdict, not guilty. Jack felt an overwhelming wave of relief as he was acquitted of all charges. Tears welled up in his eyes as he turned to Maya, who gave him a small, triumphant smile. A few days after the trial, Jack visited Maya's office to thank her. He looked nervous, wringing his hands as he stood in her doorway. "Ms. Caldwell," he began, "I owe you an apology. I judged you before I even gave you a chance, and that was wrong. You're not just a great lawyer, you're the best. Thank you for everything." Maya regarded him thoughtfully before replying. "Thank you, Mr. Wilson. It takes courage to admit when you're wrong. I'm glad I could help." The experience left a lasting impression on Jack. He began to question the biases he'd grown up with and made an effort to broaden his perspective. While it wasn't an easy journey, Jack's encounter with Maya taught him a valuable lesson. Excellence knows no boundaries, and justice transcends prejudice. This story reminds us of the importance of confronting our biases and embracing the value that people from all walks of life can bring to the table. It's a call to see beyond appearances and trust in the power of truth, integrity, and competence. If you found this story inspiring, share it with others to spark meaningful conversations about equality, justice, and personal growth. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering stories that challenge perspectives and inspire change.